This video is specifically about Japanese video games appreciation and why they are pissing off Western video game developers. And I want to make it pretty clear that by Japanese video games, I don't mean those types of video games. Anyway, let's begin. West created animation, Japan completely revolutionized it. And in the same sense, West created video games, and Japan once again adapted. The first ever Japanese video game created was the TV Tennis Electronics, followed by Nintendo's Color TV game. So yeah, even before the Mario era, Nintendo was ready to take over the video game industry. The 1983 video game crash happened, and this was the perfect moment for Japanese video game developers. And you know the rest, from Nintendo to PlayStation. Japan is a champion when it comes to storytelling in any medium. When it comes to video games, cutscenes are the most essential part. I mean, they literally tell the most important details. Cutscenes in Japanese video games are completely unique. They are long but well created. Metal Gear Solid cutscenes are literally anime episodes in between because of how long they are, yet they don't feel boring. Japanese video games have better cutscenes than Western games. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of Western games with great cutscenes, but there's something special about the way Japanese developers handle storytelling. Japanese games tend to have a stronger emphasis on character development, and their cutscenes reflect that. They take their time building up the characters and their relationships with each other, which makes you more invested in the story. On the other hand, Western games often prioritize action over character development, resulting in cutscenes that feel like they're just there to move the plot forward. Japanese games often feature more dynamic and visually stunning cutscenes. They use unique camera angles, lighting, and special effects to create truly memorable moments that stick with you long after the game is over. While Western games may have impressive graphics, they often lack the creative flair that Japanese developers bring to the table. I think Japanese video games have set the bar high for what a great cutscene should look like. Yakuza is a perfect example of a Japanese video game with great cutscenes. The game has a reputation for its over-the-top cinematic cutscenes, which are often as long as some Hollywood movies. I mean, seriously, some cutscenes are so long that you can pop some popcorn, take a bathroom break, and come back, and they'll still be going. And let's not forget the epic moments, like when Kiryu lifts a motorcycle and uses it as a weapon, or when he fights a giant man in a diaper. Japanese video games emphasize plots a lot. The plot is the soul of their game, like in the Metal Gear Solid series. But that doesn't mean they can't create a world where you could just escape to, like in Elder Scrolls. The Elder Scrolls games have almost no cutscenes or in-game player guides. You just have to ask around to find out. The world is vast and huge, and this is where the imagination of video games peaks. Well, Japan has the Elden Ring. This game took over the gamers by storm because it's freaking incredible. You can explore this mysterious world with mysterious creatures. It gives you the freedom to do whatever you want. You can fight monsters, or just relax. Japanese video games have often been praised for their unique storytelling and immersive experiences. One of the reasons for this is the fact that Japanese games don't follow a particular code or moral code. They are not afraid to tackle controversial topics or explore themes that might not be considered politically correct by some. This allows game developers to let their imaginations run wild and create games that are truly unique and memorable. For example, the Yakuza series is a prime example of a Japanese game that doesn't shy away from controversial topics. The series follows the life of a former Yakuza member named Kazuma Kiryu as he navigates the seedy underworld of Tokyo's red light district. The game deals with themes of honor, loyalty, and betrayal, and isn't afraid to show the brutal violence that often accompanies the world of organized crime. It's a game that's not afraid to push boundaries and explore themes that might be considered taboo in other cultures. There is no such thing as wokeness in Japanese video games, at least in most of them. They just show great stories, and that's it. There's another weapon in Japanese video games' arsenal, and believe it or not, it's damn popular. Visual novels are a unique entry in the world of video games, and they were created by none other than Japan. They are a genre of interactive storytelling games that blend elements of literature, anime, and gaming. They have become increasingly popular in recent years, with many titles being released on various platforms, including consoles, PCs, and mobile devices. One of the defining features of visual novels is their focus on storytelling. Players take on the role of a protagonist who navigates a branching narrative by making choices that affect the outcome of the story. This creates a sense of immersion and investment in the characters and the world they inhabit. The stories in visual novels can range from lighthearted romances to dark and complex mysteries, and everything in between. Visual novels also have a unique visual style that sets them apart from other video games. They are often illustrated with anime-style artwork, and their interface usually consists of text boxes overlaid on top of static images. Some visual novels also include animated cutscenes, voice acting, and even music. The combination of these elements creates a truly immersive experience that engages the player's senses and emotions. One example of a popular visual novel series is the Ace Attorney franchise, created by Japanese developer Capcom. Yeah, the same guys who created Resident Evil. In these games, players take on the role of Phoenix Wright, a defense attorney who solves mysteries and defends clients in court. The games are known for their quirky humor, engaging characters, and intricate storylines. Another popular visual novel is Doki Doki Literature Club, developed by independent studio team Salvato. The game appears at first to be a lighthearted dating sim, but quickly takes a dark turn, delving into themes of mental illness and existential horror. Trust me, this game is messed up in a good sense. Visual novels' emphasis on player choice, immersive storytelling, and distinct visual style make them stand out from other genres. While visual novels are a niche genre, their popularity is growing, and they have the potential to appeal to a wide range of players who are looking for something different from traditional video games. Weebs spend a fair amount of time promoting these types of games for free. Let's talk about how Japanese video games depict their culture. One thing that's immediately noticeable is how they incorporate traditional Japanese elements into their games. This can be seen in everything from the architecture, to the clothing, to the characters' mannerisms. For example, in the game Ghost of Tsushima, the player takes on the role of a samurai, and the game is set in feudal Japan. The developers went to great lengths to ensure that the game was historically accurate, and as a result, players get a real sense of what life was like during that time period. Another aspect of Japanese video games is their focus on honor and respect. This is particularly evident in games that feature samurai or ninja characters, as these characters are often portrayed as being extremely honorable and always following a code of conduct. In the Nioh series, the player takes on the role of a samurai and is tasked with defeating demons that have invaded Japan. Throughout the game, the player is constantly reminded of the importance of honoring and respecting one's opponent. Japanese video games often incorporate fantastical elements that are rooted in Japanese mythology and folklore. For example, the Okami series features a wolf goddess who battles evil spirits and brings peace to the land. These are just some examples of Japanese video game developers' respect for their culture. Now, before we end this video, let's talk about some underrated Japanese video game gems. We all know about the big Japanese video game titles like Final Fantasy, Metal Gear Solid, and Street Fighter. But there are some seriously underrated gems out there that don't get the recognition they deserve. Let's check them out. First up, we have Okami, an action-adventure game that follows the goddess Amaterasu, who takes on the form of a wolf to restore beauty and order to a world that's been overrun by darkness. This game is a masterpiece in terms of gameplay, graphics, and story. It's definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of adventure games. Next, we have Katamari Damacy, a quirky puzzle game that's all about rolling a ball around, collecting objects, and growing bigger and bigger. It's simple, yet addictively fun. The game's unique visual style and catchy soundtrack make it an absolute joy to play. Moving on, we have Nier Automata, a fast-paced action RPG set in a post-apocalyptic world. This game has an incredibly deep and emotional story that explores themes of humanity, existence, and free will. The gameplay is also top-notch, with a variety of weapons and combat styles to choose from. So there you have it, guys. Some of the most underrated Japanese video games out there. These games may not be as well known as some of the big hitters, but they're definitely worth playing if you're a fan of the genre. And that's a wrap. I hope this video was informative and entertaining for you and really gave you an idea about Japanese video games if you didn't have one already. My intention was just to show some genuine support to the Japanese video game industry. They are booming now. Finally, I want to say thanks for watching this video. It really means a lot. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss future videos. If you enjoyed this video, that would be great, and I'll see you next time. Take care.